Ba-now. What's up, people? Another episode of the Giants Guys. Thanks for tuning in, hanging out with us. Of course, you know we are the podcast you love to hate, brought to you by Astro Flav. That's our rockin' sponsor. You people who are always working out, like because you're motivated and somehow you get up early and you do all this great stuff and somehow you can get to the gym and put on this muscle. Well, you need Astro Flav. All natural, no extra sugars, no chemicals. New Jersey strong, 5 locations in New Jersey. And we would love it if you support them because they support us. So if you could check them out at astroflav.com or check them out on Twitter, follow them, hit the old, follow button. All natural stuff that will ship anywhere in the country. I think we got a couple of Giants fans in Hawaii, California. So they've been all dipping into the resources that we call Astro Flav. We got it for amino acids, collagen shakes. I love it. You should love it, or try it. You will love it. Let's get the guys in here. We got a lot to talk about as the Giants take a big loss to the Detroit Lions at home. Let's bring in Truth. He's wearing his Mets gear, I think. So let's see what he's got on here. Oh no, but he's Giants. He's got Giants on. All right, hang on. Let's bring him in.
Come on.
I thought you had Mets on there for a second.
They're close.
All right, let's get Zane in here. Zane's wearing some red, so he's definitely wearing some Giants gear.
I got your hat. That's what I need.
What's up, Zane?
How's it going?
Good. You want to turn your mic up a little bit? You're low. You're very low.
Can you hear me now?
That was like that commercial. I can hear you.
All right, we're good. We're good.
Gentlemen, of course, another episode of the Giants Guys. I see you guys are piling in the room. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us for the next 50 minutes. Sorry for being a couple minutes late. I'm going to start the show like I always do with the top 10 things that you do not know about your 2022 New York Giants. Let's kick it off. Let's talk about punts, right? Let's talk about punts. This week we lost Adoree Jackson to an ACL injury on a
MCL.
Is it MCL? Let me hang on. Let's see.
Yeah, MCL.
I've got both ACL and
MCL.
I've got reports of ACL and MCL. But either way, we have a knee injury because Adoree Jackson was returning punts, right?
Yep.
So let's look at this. The New York Giants were averaging 10 yards a punt return. So we lost our All-Pro or potentially Pro Bowl cornerback over 10 yards. Never would in my life would I tell you, unless we were having Jason Sehorn flashbacks, I would tell you that we lost our Pro Bowl cornerback, who's having his best year in years, that we lost him over 10 yards. Number 2, things that you might not have known about your 2022 New York Giants is that 4 drafted players all have knee injuries.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got Robinson with a ACL, MCL. I've got conflicting reports, but I can go with MCL. Either one, he's gone.
Well, he's had both, right? He had an MCL earlier, and now he's got the ACL, so he's got both this year.
Yep. And we've got Beavers. Okay, Beavers. We lost him early on with an ACL. DJ Davidson has an ACL, and of course, we know that Neal has an MCL sprain. So that's 4 players in the 2022.
Don't forget Marcus McKeven. Remember during
we're not Shepard.
ACL.
Well, I'm only talking about the draft class for 2022.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, he's in the draft class.
Yep. We've got 4 guys from the draft class, and we got 1 who's basically on IR, which right now is Neal, or he's out. So that's really 5 players with knee injuries.
Did you hit Marcus McKeven?
Yes, he's the 4th one.
Gotcha.
He's number 4. Neal is number 5.
Gotcha.
So and what's interesting about it is, we've got this play now, of course, that they're going to get some new turf, and it's like a little bit too late. Number 3, what you might not know about your 2022 New York Giants is that Andrew Thomas has not let up a sack this entire year. He has let up one QB hit, and that was week number 2. Okay, he is the best tackle in the NFL. Number 4, things that you might not know about your 2022 New York Giants are the Giants rank. It's not a good thing, my friend. The Giants ranked number 23 in sacks with a total of 20. That's pretty piss poor when you think about what kind of stars we have on this team with Dexter Lawrence, Leo, Tibbs, Ward. We've got, of course, Ojulari's been out all year. But it's pretty sad that, we're ranked 20th with only 20 sacks all year. Number 5, things that you might not know about your 22 New York Giants is that Saquon Barkley is 50 yards away from his rushing total in 2019, which was basically his sophomore year, okay? Because he was a 2018 draft pick. So in 2019, he rushed for 1,003 yards. He did that because he did have an injury, right, in that year. He did that in 13 games. So he is going to accomplish that, unless something dramatically changes. He's going to accomplish that same feat in 11 games this year. So he's only 50 yards away from his total of 2019, which is, of course, a great sign. Potentially comeback player of the year. Number 6, things that you might not know about your 2022 New York Giants is that Daniel Jones is on pace for 3,400 yards and 16 TDs. That's not rushing. That's just throwing. He has 4 rushing touchdowns last I checked. Definitely not on the pace that we thought. We were all shooting for 25 touchdowns. Of course, we didn't know we were going to lose, basically every receiver on this team. But that's just to give you an idea where he sits now. Can that change? Sure. And I've got something coming up later in the countdown to give you a little bit more Jones detail. Number 7, Slayton. Why is Slayton having such great success? Well, I'm going to tell you. What you might not know about Darius Slayton, that his route tree has changed dramatically. It's roughly around 20 to 30% change from year over year. He is now dominating deep cross, medium cross, and corner routes over last year, which were hitches, short fades, and comebacks. That 25 to 35% change in his route tree that Kafka and Dable have worked on have dramatically changed his success, which also, if you've noticed, he's not dropping 2-3 balls a game any longer because he's doing what he does best, and that's using speed, getting the space, and tearing the top off the defense and getting open. And you can dig down to the percentages. I didn't write down the percentages, but when I added it up, it's about a swing 20 to 30% difference in the short routes to the long routes year over year. So you can go back and blame Judge for all that, putting him through all these short baby routes. And by the way, wild card is I would wonder if they threw the ball more deep to Evan Ingram, if he'd still be here too. I'm kind of wondering if they're just not short route catchers. Anyway, story for another day. Number 8, things that you might not know about your 2022 New York Giants is this past weekend against the Lions, your top 3 tacklers were Love, Holmes, and Robinson. Okay? That's a problem, that your defensive backs are your leading tacklers on your team. But to add insult to injury, what you probably didn't know is that Tibbs, Crowder, Zimenez, and Fox had a combination of 6 tackles. That is just piss poor. Okay? Your entire linebacker crew is basically worthless, okay, at 6 complete tackles and no sacks. It's embarrassing to say the least. Number 9, coming back to our fearless quarterback, Jones is number 3 in rushing behind Lamar and Hurts. That may be something that you might have at least guessed. He had a great rushing day against the Lions. But
is he ahead of Fields? I thought Fields was coming up.
As of yesterday, he was. Yeah. Number 10, which is also your final, what you did not know about your 22 New York Giants, is also about your fearless quarterback, which is actually one that I'm going to have to ask you if you'd like to look more into it. You can, but Daniel Jones' best passing game ever came on October 3rd of 2021 against dang, now I'm drawing a blank on who it was. It was Seattle. 402 yards, okay? He has 7. Now, again, we know he's not a major thrower because of the offense, but he's only had 7 games over 300 yards. He's only had 1 400-yard passing game. So yesterday, of course, he had a 340-yard day, which got me thinking, how many 300-yard games has he had? It is 7 total. So wrap it up. That is your top 10 things that you might not know about your 22 New York Giants. Thanks for tuning in to, of course, another episode of the Giants Game. That's Michael Stewart, the truth. That is Zane, the belt guy. Guys, what the hell happened yesterday? I'm gonna start it off, and I'm gonna go over here to my banner notes, and I'm gonna start off with the rant and rave. We've had some success with it. Zane, I'm starting with you. I know you're subdued. You know you're taking everything that happened in stride. You're always calm, cool, and collected. Give me one thing you want to rant about. Give me one thing you want to rave about.
There's a lot to rant about, right? I mean, it was ugly, if we're just going to be honest, right? I don't think collectively anybody really showed up. You can spot check to a guy and say, well, this individual still performed well, right? Dexter Lawrence got a lot of double teams. He individually performed well. That's an individual feat. Daniel Jones wasn't great, but he was pretty much better than anybody else on offense. I mean, he wasn't great, but he was still a lot better than everybody else. So individually, I think I'm going to harp on. I mean, I would have loved to said, the raving is Wandale, but with Wandale being out now, ain't really much to rave about. But I'll say Slayton is probably the guy to rave about. A nice little comeback story internally, at least. I don't want to say he was in the doghouse, but from not getting snaps to getting snaps quietly, producing quietly, being professional. You watch his interviews, no stupid clips, no stupid sound bites, nothing you're hearing, but it's all positive things. So, I mean, good for him. Shout out to Darius Slayton. He's something someone to Raven rooted about. Now, for the rant, again, everyone was garbage for the most part. But the one thing I'm actually more upset about is actually a little bit on the coaching staff here. And that is, I don't understand why Shane Lemieux was starting. I don't get that. Now, the coaching staff overall, even the game plan didn't work. But very specifically, Azudu was doing fine, right? It wasn't perfect, but the rookie was doing well. He's very good in run blocking. Shane Lemieux's coming in cold. Hasn't gotten any gameplay. He's the first player, I think, that I've seen from this regime so far coming off an injury that he went right back in. Everybody else, they worked in 10, 15 snaps and then ramp them up. 10, 15 snaps and then ramp. You've seen it with every player. But for some reason, they said, whatever, Shane, just go out there. You're the starter. You're going to play. He ended up playing half the snaps, but he was god-awful. They even showed the runs that Saquon had. Saquon had 4 runs not behind Lemieux, and they went for like 14 yards. It was okay. Every other run behind Lemieux was behind the line of scrimmage and just garbage. Yeah. I don't understand what the thought process was. Obviously, again, Azudu's doing well enough. I don't know why he wasn't the guy, but very confusing for that one specific item. Again, plenty of things to harp on for coaching here, but that one specific move did not make sense before, and it shows how it didn't look good while it was happening.
I think you nailed that. Yeah, Slayton definitely creepy, slow, couple catches, turns in that he's going to have his career year, 100%. He's been, even though he's our number one, we know he's, an aggressive 2, maybe even a dominant 3 on another team.
He'd be like another Mario Manningham, right? A really good number 3.
100%. Yeah. You nailed that. And the Lemieux move is a head scratcher. I can only think maybe Azudu was hurt and they had to play him and didn't tell anybody.
But then Azudu played half the snaps and got hurt anyway. So I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Which is again a head scratcher. Yeah. Before I get to you, Michael, just want to say hi to everybody because we got a ton of people. I see Neil, from LBI. I see Ali from Cali is in here. I see Mark, of course. Spartan Mike decided to drop in with us. What's up, Mike? As he hosted definitely the Rush Hour show yesterday. Hope you guys caught that. Oh, yeah. Bird Gang. My boy Bird Gang from Philly. I'm sure we're going to mix it up in 2 weeks, buddy. I see you in here. Thanks for hanging out. He's a good guy. Real Cold, always one of our favorites. What's up, Cold? Chris, I see you in here. Of course, Tuto. He's always here. He's like
shout out to Ali. Yep. Cali, 3 hours behind. Appreciate that.
Exactly. Yep. And I see Chris is in here. I see a bunch of you guys popping in here. So thanks for hanging out with us. Mr. Stewart, we call you the truth for a reason. Give us your rant. Give us your rave.
Okay, well, with the rant, I'm going to go with a collective group, the defensive front 7 on the Giants. Boy, the Lions really looked like a powerhouse running team against the Giants. And like you said, Craig, a lot of the corners made a lot of tackles because the other guys just were being blocked. They got through the front seven of our defense. Didn't look too good. They looked confused. So that didn't look good. My rave, even though Zay made a good point that the guy's out for the year now, I was so happy until he got hurt that Robinson did such a great job. They finally gave him some plays. They showcased his skills. He had 9 receptions, 100 yards. But unfortunately, like he said, he's gone for the year. But he really impressed me for his Hey, listen, if he just stayed healthy, I still believe he would have led a team in receptions. But that's all right.
That's why I hate small players, man. I'm sorry. I'm a size.
Oh, you guys. I don't think
whatever.
He's out. I don't think he's
tiny people get hurt in this sport. It's not for tiny people.
Yeah. Listen, Zane and I are like lock and step, like, the entire way on this thing. I love I love what he stands for. I love the fact that he is literally, I guess the word would be defy all odds at 5'8", 170, making it, because realistically,
he's not 5'8".
Yeah, he might not even be 5'8".
Yeah.
There's one guy a year that makes it at that size. But when you really dig into it, I do have a list somewhere here. I don't have it in front of me at the moment. I did a list. I did this data snap when they drafted him, and then we just, we got sidetracked with some other stuff. I'm like looking through my notes here to see if I can just pull it out. There's about 20 guys over since 2020. Excuse me, since 2000. Okay, that are that size. Truth, and every single one of them is a special teams guy with a career of 3.5 years. Tyreek Hill is the absolute like outlier by 1,000,000%.
And you always have those. You always, Tom Brady. Those are outliers that people always bring up, and they expect that to be the median. And it's just really not the norm. It's just not the norm. When these cats make it, they're returners. They have short careers, and they just don't make it. So listen, he's a small man that definitely had an opportunity, but he had to take over that Shepard role. And as you saw, you could see how many injuries Shepard has in that role and Shepard's twice the size. You know what I mean?
Shepard is a very bulky guy. He's not.
Yeah, Shepard is thick.
It's not a knock on his personality or grit or heart. Good for you, kid. Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have you.
Wendell Robinson is a warrior.
Your size will always be
right. But he didn't get hurt because of his size.
Hey, listen, when you have if they throw him a screen and a 6'3", 250-pound linebacker just clocks him, and he's like 5'6", 170 or whatever it is, that's gonna hurt. You're gonna get hurt.
And we can't definitely say it was or it wasn't, though. Small guy gets twisted up. He just doesn't have the same type of, body style. Like, who knows? He got twisted up. Who knows if he's 195, 205 pounds, if his foot doesn't allow his knee to twist that way and pop.
I guess that's true.
No, listen, I'm not an orthopod. I'm just making an overall observation.
What is that? Somebody who sleeps in pods?
That's short for orthopedic.
Yeah, short for orthopedic surgeon. All right. Like, for you people out there that don't know. But I will say, like, I think Zane and I both agree, like, maybe the percentage goes up. If he's 205, the percentage may go up that he doesn't have to take that twist that he took in the game. And it sucks. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I was not happy that they drafted him, but I'm super bummed that he got hurt.
Yeah, I feel bad for the kid, man, especially when you have a day like that. You should be able to celebrate that, a big game for you, mentally, family, everything. Everyone's excited. Terrible news,
Zay, let me ask you something quick. I know Craig didn't like the pick because he was on the air when it happened. But how did you feel when the pick was made?
I was surprised. I'll tell you that one. I'm very indifferent about liking and not liking. I'm generally either surprised or I'm not surprised, right? And my only surprise wasn't that they picked him. My surprise was how many man corners we just kind of passed by.
That's correct. Right? I remember we talked about the cornerbacks. Yeah,
we could really use a man corner. And they passed by a lot of good ones. So that was really my surprise at the direction. But at the same time, we felt like what does this mean for Tony? He's the slot guy. And it was like, okay, you want weapons. And if they're going to scheme him and design him with what they've brought in, so be it. No problem. But I would say a little bit more surprised than like or not like.
Okay.
So half the day we kept going, corner, yes, no. A corner, yes, no.
And when they finally took a corner, it was a slot corner. Shout out to Cordell Flott, though. He's dope.
All right, let's move on, boys, to what we call the big three on our 7-3 New York Giants. Is Jones, Barkley, and Slayton. From a production standpoint, gentlemen, like I'm really happy with Jones is giving you.
I mean, you got to get Galladay in there. We had positive yards. You got to get the big four. Kenny G, baby.
Brian, we could throw.
Caught the ball. That's good.
Yeah, he barely. He was like.
Yeah, no harm. Just spray body. Save me, God. Save me.
Yeah. I thought, guys, I'll just give you my quick wrap. Thought Jones had a great day, like slinging the ball around the place. But, hey, we don't have playmakers that break plays and score touchdowns. We have a bunch of possession guys. So, we don't have that dynamic receiver that takes a 15-yard, catch and makes it 30. Or we don't have a 25-yard catch guy that makes it 40 and scores. Like, we don't have those guys. So I'm not sitting here blaming Jones. I love everything Jones did.
I didn't love everything he did. I didn't love everything he did.
Yeah, I love everything. I love everything. I love everything he did. Hold on a minute. I love everything he did. Only Zane because, like in the course of a normal game, you're going to miss some throws. You're going to get some interceptions. They all do.
Throws.
Yeah, they all do. I love what he did with nothing. Once again, you know what I mean? Like what happens? I lose a center. I lose a guard. I lose a tight end. I lose my other receiver. Oh crap! Like he loses everyone, and he still balls. So for me, I'm not going to sit here and go, well, I think the percentage was once he threw the first interception, the win percent rate went down 11%. Okay, whatever, Stat Geeks. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're getting everything they wanted out of him. He hasn't thrown an interception in weeks, right? He's throwing the ball out of bounds. He's running for first down.
That streak's over now.
What's that?
That streak's over now.
Oh, no. Of course. I'm just saying, like, he's done everything. Barkley yesterday, I think, and we'll get into this a little bit deeper, guys. I don't know. Barkley gave up. The coaching staff gave up. Something was dysfunctional there.
I don't know if he gave up, but I definitely think he's a little bit more hurt than is being let on.
Yeah, and we already covered Slayton. So, Truth, I'll start with you. What's your evaluation of Jones? What's your evaluation of Barkley? We all raved about Slayton, so I think we could uncover him. Tell me about the other two.
Well, I totally agree with you, Craig, about Jones. He did everything he could with what he had. He of course he had to throw more because the team was behind almost nearly 2.5. What was it? A half and a quarter of the game. So he had to do what he had to do. He got his leading receiver for the day got hurt, like you said. Barkley, to me, he looked like he did a lot of dancing in this game. Maybe because there was nothing there when he got the ball, but he didn't look like he was exploding, trying to get to the hole. But it's one game, and perhaps there was no holes to go through. So it wasn't his best game, but there's more games to play for him.
Go ahead, Zane. Give me what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, with Barkley, there is slight concern that his shoulder is a little bit banged up, which might allude to a little bit of the running of not putting his shoulder down. We saw all early this year he's been playing real hard, right? Putting his shoulder down, going with contact. Didn't see that as much yesterday. So there's slight concern whether or not his shoulder, the level of it being hurt or not hurt. More importantly, it's what I brought up earlier, right? When they ran behind Lemieux, the guy was getting speared almost immediately. So
yeah,
you dance to not get hit, but when you're just getting hit, you're just hoping to make something happen. So that's really my Barkley take. Like I said, 2 thumbs up for Slayton, man. Redemption tour for him. I mean, we all cracked on him this summer. We were all like, hey, listen, trade the guy. Who cares?
I'm gonna throw this up here because you guys will appreciate it. My left coast friend here has got a great point. She watched the Niners game last night and became concerned about Barkley because you're just watching, you're watching McCaffrey run free, you're watching Debo run, and you're starting to say, you know what, maybe Barkley is a little banged up. We know he has some shoulder issues. I saw him shaking out his hand a couple times.
We've seen that for a couple of weeks now. It happened, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago when you saw that little shoulder hand thing you're talking about. He's been consistently doing. So I don't think he's going to make an excuse for it. I don't think he's going to bring it up. I don't think he wants to.
Yeah.
I don't
He
believe
won't.
it's any narrative that's not his personality in any form. But I think if you're watching, you can see that there's something a little bit off from what we've seen him running throughout the year so far, especially with contact. He's been fine with contact.
Oh, Nikki is in the room and she's being sarcastic. She wants to know if we have a pencil sponsor. Okay, look, gone. All right, wise guy.
Did you also read what Tudo wrote you about all the girls?
About Astroflave?
No, he's got a whole bunch of girls there. They want to see your hair.
No,
You know the deal. You know why we're here.
Why do I have to do this every single week?
I don't know, man.
Why we're here.
You got that hair.
Why we're here. There it is. Just let your soul go.
Yeah, look, there you go. There it is.
Baby.
Man, I tell you.
All right, let's get back to football.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love the fact that Tuto's watching the show at 2:24 a.m.
I know.
The guy's a total beast.
Hey, Greg, real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick, you talked about the 49ers. Don't forget Mitchell, the other running back they got there.
Yeah, him too.
They got a three-headed monster back there. They stay healthy. They'll be a tough team come playoff time.
And again, a good O-line, right? It's not a bad O-line. You can run behind multiples.
Yeah.
It's not like our O-line hasn't gotten better. They just keep getting hurt. They can stay healthy. They've all slightly started to play a lot better.
And let's not kid ourselves. Like, we've gone through years of having, Ward and Bradshaw and Jacobs, and now we have one back. Breida doesn't get enough carries either to even give Barkley a rest. They don't use Breida right at all. But I'm gonna, which is interesting because, again, I think we're all on the same page. And the big thing that I want to bounce to here, it kind of is a great segue. I'm looking for the banner here to pop up here is what my biggest issue, what the game was yesterday, was the game plan. I'm not second guessing any coaches because I'm not one, right? Though I was coaching a lot of 8th grade football this weekend. My problem, Zane, with the game plan is that Barkley just feels underutilized. Okay, like he's not a passing threat when he should be. I don't see any screenplays. I don't see any rollouts in flat. I don't see any quick tosses. I don't see any slants. Heck, I don't care if you pitch the ball out and let Barkley throw the ball. I don't see any reverses. Soon as Barkley got shut down, it was like Kafka and Dable took their ball and went home. And I was kind of disappointed with the fact that, like, honestly, we don't have to admit it. I'm hoping you guys will admit it. If this was if this was the Bills, or this was Kansas City, they wouldn't go silently into the night. They would be trying everything they could to scrape their way back in the game. And I felt our guys went like this. Right? Like Barkley just was like, okay, we're not running. Well, where's the screen? Okay, where's a quick toss?
Yeah,
I don't care if they let Barkley throw it.
I said this maybe 2 weeks ago, either the last pod or even I said it on Twitter. I'm very concerned about how much the screen's been underutilized. They've tried it maybe 2 or 3 times. I know there's been like 1 or 2 negative plays and they just stop. It's like, nah, didn't work. Not even going to try it again. I would like to see them try a slant screen with Slayton. Somebody who has speed. You would have said Wandale, but obviously he's out. But Barkley would be a candidate for a screen. Even, Hodgins, who has good hands. He might not be the quickest, but just something, right? Maybe slows down the pressure a little bit, gives a different look, do something with it. But yeah, the lack of screens has been concerning. Barkley not being utilized in space as a receiver has been very odd. I thought we would have seen that actually a lot more than we have. And he's got a fair amount of receptions and yards, but it doesn't come in the format of a mismatch type.
And in fact, saying when they do it, it almost feels clunky and awkward.
Yeah. It's forced, right? It feels forced.
I'm not saying he's got to be Matt Forte or Le'Veon Bell. I'm just saying, this guy's an all-world athlete, superstar, and we struggle getting him the ball. I don't get it.
I think part of it is shout out to Saquon here though. His blocking has gotten so much better. I think they're keeping him in strictly for that extra block right now. Let's take a look on that right side, right? We had Evan Neal got hurt. Phillips comes in, gets hurt. Pert's in now. Shout out to Matt Pert. Played a decent game, guy. Good for you. You played actually a decent game. It wasn't the worst thing that I saw when I saw you come in. But I think they keep him in to protect a little bit more, especially now with the tight ends down too. Like Cager's not a blocking guy.
No, he's a converted wide receiver.
that was another guy when they were running these sweeps and they had Cager running and Barkley had to go on that side. He got blown up. Cager got blown up too. So I think the game plan needs to move back towards the things that got you the wins in Baltimore and Green Bay and those
Tennessee.
Yeah. Go back to the game plan that works. I'm not saying this game plan was, not working. We just didn't get enough of it because how poorly the execution was. It kind of got blown up pretty quick. And like I said, I think I don't want to say necessarily gave up on it, but they pivoted very quickly. Like, you know what, this isn't going to work. We need to move towards something else.
Which I'm going to touch on there for a second, and I'll throw it to you, Mike. Even on the defensive side, Mike, it looked differently. Like they looked like they were playing in like C gaps instead of A gaps, and I didn't really see like this dominating front. Ward was non-existent, and he's been having a slamming year. Like, okay, I'll also go on record saying this. I kept asking myself why Jalen Smith never has a team, and we signed him off the scrap heap back-to-back years. You know why? I figured it out. Because he never does what he's supposed to do. Everything is like him taking off being this great athlete, but he never scrapes. He never gets through traffic.
I saw him get washed. I saw him get washed so badly on one play, and he had no idea. The vision wasn't there. He ran into just a group of people, and the running back walked right next to him. He watched him too. He watched
no clue. Clue.
Yeah, like our linebacker core, excuse me for saying this, I'm not trying to be over, but our linebacker core sucks.
Both of them played horrible. Both of them played horrible.
Like Crowder and Jalen Smith played terrible. Now Crowder I already knew was terrible.
And McFadden.
Well, I don't see when I look at McFadden, the funny thing is they bench him, they play him. They bench him for 2, they play him. Like, I don't know how this cat's supposed to get any better if he only plays every 3 games. So Stuart, tell me about this defensive scheme here that just totally looked off.
Well, listen, I wasn't like so focused on what they were doing schematically, but they just looked flat to me. They look like, to me, when I watch the game, I always watch the line. I don't know. For me, I have a fascination of the offensive defensive line. I like to see the guys get off the ball. And it did not look like the Giants were getting off the ball. They were letting Detroit come to them. They were flat, especially the pass rush was non-existing. Like you said early in the show, Craig, 20 sacks we have. They just look they just look like they were. I don't want to say they weren't prepared, but they just were being beaten to the punch. It just looked like that the offensive line of Detroit was just beating them to the punch, and they just couldn't find a way to compensate for that or correct it.
There's some great points in here. Mark Thomas, our Caribbean buddy, says that he thinks, Bellinger was the glue and the safety valve at times, and we missed that. That is 100% accurate. Brandon, good to see Brandon in here. Brandon thinks that maybe, if it doesn't get any better, maybe Dave should take over play calling. That's a potential. I mean, I don't think we should give up on Kafka quite yet.
That one game, yeah.
Yeah, but they were definitely yes, real cold.
They still put up a ton of yards. They just weren't able to convert them in the right spots. So, for some of the so-called, Kafka blunders, the rest that was positive was also Kafka, right? So you got to take that mixed bag in that scenario.
And sometimes you got to give the other team credit too for a good game plan and execution, right?
Yeah, they punched us in the mouth, right? Good for them. Detroit got it. They got it. So
yeah, they literally said, well, we'll just stop Barkley and let's see Jones beat us.
Yeah.
And then what happens, what you realize is, again, I said this earlier, we don't have playmakers. We have possession receivers. So they're never going to beat you because they're just going to catch the ball and either go out of bounds or fall down. There's nobody breaking tackles or blowing by guys. And Slayton is fast.
Yeah, but he's
not that guy.
But he tore his ACL, the guy that was supposed to do it. So
who, Colin?
No, Wandale.
Wandale. I disagree a little bit there, Zane. That's just me personally. I think he's a gadget guy, an underneath guy, a slot guy. I don't really see him I don't think anybody's afraid of a 170-pound receiver.
Yeah, I don't mean breaking tackles in the way he's going to stiff arm you, but I mean he's most likely to be the shiftier version to get away.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
And also keep in mind, even though a good game plan doesn't mean anything if they don't execute. So.
Yeah. Or how about the fact that you realize it's not working and you pivot to something else? You know,
Right,
like,
right.
'cause that's what I kept thinking. I'm like, I kept seeing Barkley on the sideline. He looked like he was pouting. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, well, let's get the ball to this cat. Like Zane said, I think it's kind of been a concern for most of the year that they don't use a screen. We haven't thrown a good screen since Tiki Barber.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time you can feel good about a screen. I'm not even being facetious. I can't
That's a
remember.
great play to a screen.
And it's such a pivotal part of the game today, right? It's supposed to be get athlete in
Yes.
space, get yards. That's the
Yep.
concept.
How about the fact that we've got a guy like Saquon that can take the ball into the line, toss it back to Jones, pitch back, and let him throw it down the field? Like, there's no creativity from
I think he'd get murdered in a play like that.
What's that?
I think he'd get murdered in a play like that.
I don't know. I
You
mean,
could develop that. I don't know if you'd have to call it at the right time, right? You'd have to have everything. It has to be that right call, right moment.
Rodney Hampton used to do it a lot back in the day. I mean, OJ did it back in the day. Tiki did it back in the day. I mean, you got to have good center, to be able to hold that block and flip it back. But for two super creative offensive minds, Dable and Kafka, I think they get an F for what they pulled off this week.
Yeah,
I just do.
Yeah, there's nothing good about it. They know it. They said it flat out. Whatever we were cooking ain't smell good, right? So it wasn't good. It was a flop all around. Plus the defense. Plus, like I said, find me some part of the phase you felt was good. It was just a bad overall game for everybody.
That's right.
Yeah, and in fact, I don't even remember if I brought it up. I was going to say, I wrote if you're tuning in, I wrote an article. I always write an article on Mondays or Tuesdays called Java with Jones. I kind of break down Jones and what happened around Jones. So you can go to nygiantsrush.com and check out my latest Java with Jones. I won't spoil what the article is about, but there was one line I wanted to bring to your attention, Michael. Two kickoffs, each 31-yard returns apiece. Why do our special teams still suck? Why does McGahee still have a job? I mean, they started two drives on the 50-yard line. I mean, what the heck? I know that was like a bleep moment there. I'm sorry.
It's been bad all season. We've been concerned with special teams all season. So I've been saying this. The punter's actually been really good. Sans like maybe last week when he had those duds. Oof. But for the most part, he's been really good. But go look at his net average. He's getting all 55-yard punts, but his net's like 38-40. Well, why? Punt coverage has been garbage. It's the same thing with special teams. The coverage has been bad. Cam Brown was supposed to be like, this Pro Bowl special teamer, and he had one good year, but he's been bad. Carter Coughlin ain't been doing much. The special teams, the extra guys, they're not really making plays.
All right, I'm answering a personal question here because it's about me. It's my show. I'm allowed to do that.
Let's see it.
All right, so Tujo wants to know that all the beautiful young ladies want to know what number did you wear in college and why that number. So all right, it's a great question. In high school, I wore number 25 because it was my birthday. When I got to college, somebody already had 25. So I converted to 23. I wore 23 up to my my junior year, and I switched to 4. And I had a terrible junior. What's that?
4. I did it to 4.
It was available and it looked cool. So I switched to 4, and I had a terrible year. So my senior year, I switched back to 25. So I wore 25 as a slot receiver and a strong safety, Tuto. I hope that answers your question and all the beautiful ladies. And Tuto, I'm still waiting for my rugby jersey. I just want you to know I'm excited that one day it's going to show up. I'm super excited to wear whatever team you're playing for.
I am also.
Hey, Craig, maybe Craig, you get that jersey from Tuto quick if you get some signed autographs of you with your hair sent to those ladies.
Yeah, cut a lock off, put it in the middle.
Yeah.
Send
it to the ladies and see what it's
a little bit to spare.
He's in some foreign country all the time. That's all. I don't even know where he is. He's all over the country. Though he told me that they're losing. They're on a losing streak, I think. Jake says the punter's really good. The hell you been watching, Jake?
I've been watching the Giants games. Jake, where have you been? Perhaps in merry old England. It's really, really late when you see it, so it doesn't look the same.
I do agree. I do agree, Zane.
No.
I think the punter's been pretty good.
He has been. Overall, he has been, sure.
I'll give you there's two games that stick out in my mind, and Jake is right. I think it was last week he was god awful where he shanked a couple punts. So yeah, 100%. Before that, again, if you look throughout the season, he was hitting the ball in the right spots, but without coverage and 15, 20-yard returns, the punter looks bad, right? The punter's always going to go, well, it's only a net 30-yard. Yeah, well, you got to cover something, right?
No, I agree. I do agree with Zane on this one, Jake.
Jake, come on, man. I've lost all credibility off that. All right, we'll talk later. I got you, Jake. No worries.
All right, look, I'm going to transition into something here because there's a ton of questions in the chat on this. I'm going to kind of it's a little bit of this, a little bit of this. All right, the defense got gashed for 165 yards, guys. And the comment that makes me want to grab it, I was just here a second ago. I'm going through Tuto and his beautiful young ladies.
While Greg looks for that, well, I'll give it to you really simple. The reason the defense is getting gashed or guys can't make stops against the run is simply because the linebackers are bad. That's really it. The linebackers
they are really, really bad.
They played bad. They did. They played bad this Sunday.
There's nothing.
I was looking for.
I wish there was more to it, right? Something specific.
So we have studs in Lawrence and Williams with Kayvon doing a good job setting the edge. Everyone rallying the ball. Why are we having trouble? Wait, so that's basically what Zane's basically saying.
That's three guys on 5 offensive linemen. So if 3 guys are eating that, right? Let's just say they're taking it, right? You got Dex taking your double. Let's say Leo's got your double, and Kayvon's taking somebody else, and they're setting that nice little perimeter, right? Those 3 guys have done that. There should be 4 other guys roaming free to crack a running back. And it ain't happening.
Yeah. I mean, Jalen Smith is basically like what we call an instinct runner. I think the ball's going that way. I'm going to run that way. And they run a counter or it's a cutback and he's nowhere to be found. McFadden, as I mentioned a little earlier, the guy plays every other game or every 2 games. I don't know what you can expect from a guy who literally sits on the bench for 2 weeks in the play.
And we know how Craig feels about Crowder. So that's that. Not much to say about that. We know how we all feel about Crowder.
The
linebacker. This defense is seriously one linebacker away from really taking the defense up to the next level. Like really good linebacker.
You're talking about inside linebacker, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'll take an outside too. Even outside can still change the game because Roquan Smith can play both, right? You can designate him as inside out. He can do really both.
Yep.
Designation isn't that important to me. It's really the job, right? Can you do the job? So if you get that linebacker does a job.
But I don't think the Giants would move off on Tibbs and Ojulari that quickly to go get an outside linebacker.
No, they're not going to move off of them. They just, again, Wink said, right, it's a positionless defense. You can move them around.
Yeah, and the fact that, listen, I am a huge Ojulari guy. 8 sacks his rookie year. I mean, the guy's played 1 game all year.
He's hurt, unfortunately.
Like, I don't know. Zane and I think we agreed on this 2 weeks ago that he got really muscle bound, put on. The night we went out, we were talking about it.
Yeah.
And he gained something 15, 18, some crazy amount of weight.
20 pounds. Somebody said that on Twitter today. All that muscle he had, it ain't looking too good.
No, and he can't stay healthy on the field, so that's a problem. Ward's had a good year. But here's my thing. I'm going to go against the grain here. Everyone's going to get all mad because they all get butt hurt on, like, when you say anything bad against Tibbs. I'm not a fan of his game so far. I hate to say it. I'm looking at what Walker's done. I'm looking at what Hutchinson has done. And I'm sorry, it's very apparent that he's not strong enough. He gets washed out a lot, with these tackles. He is definitely making progress. He is there for pressures. I don't really care about pressures. You know what pressures are? You snap the ball, I step over the line of scrimmage. That's a pressure. I need someone to finish. Okay, I'm not saying all the time, but the guy's not a finisher because I don't think he's strong enough to hand play with offensive tackles. I mean, he's around the ball. That's great. I really need this guy who's supposed to be all world. There are people on Twitter, like armies and armies of people talking about defensive player of the year before he even stepped on the field. He's not even in the conversation. Okay, I think there's a lot of guys that can be doing exactly what he's doing. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
There's nothing special about what I say.
I want to see him play with his hand in the dirt a little bit.
He has it sometimes. I see him sometimes do that,
but it's not enough. I don't like him playing upright.
Let me ask you a question: if his hand's in the dirt and he still doesn't know how to pass rush. All he tries to do is bull rush. Every tackle, it don't matter.
But I think that's because they got him standing up, and he can't. I don't know if he can put real moves. I don't think he's comfortable standing up as much, or it could just be me, right? I don't know if
He did
he did it in college, right? Yeah, I agree with you. I know he did in college, but that's against college guys, right?
Right.
I think he might be a little bit better if he did. And again, I'm spitballing here. I think he would be, but yeah, he needs to add a little bit more to his arsenal right now. He needs to.
Here's my point. Here's my point. He's basically played only a half a season. Really, right? Yeah. He missed a couple of games. So
in an NFL season, in a college season, his season would be ending right now.
Right. So Craig's right about. I think he needs to get stronger, right? In a good way, not the Ojulari way, because we all said about Ojulari needs to get a little stronger, and I think he needs to be tutored. By I think Greg said the same thing. By ex-Giants need to tutor him pass rushing, and
because Michael. He's not see, this is the other thing that people don't get. I said 2 weeks ago, and I'm pretty sure, Zane, you'll agree with me. He's not a power rusher. He's more of a speed rusher.
Yes. He's more OC than he is Michael, right?
Thank you.
Than he is Michael.
Thank you. That's why Zane gets paid the big bucks. That's why he's the belt guy. I've been saying this for weeks. I'm like, why they don't bring a guy like Tollefson or OC? Bring a guy in that's more of a speed rusher. Like he is. Just watch it. Listen, there's a great.
I think they will, but I mean, we're not going to see some results from him. Really, I think next year will be a good.
But here's my question, Michael: why? I'm seeing results out of Trayvon Walker. I'm seeing results out of
Walker's 275. Walker's a big boy, so he probably can bull rush. And a lineman.
In all fairness, they move Walker inside. He's had more success inside than outside.
He's a bull. He's a bull.
Let me say.
Shout out to Hutchinson. Hutchinson makes some plays.
Hutchinson got 5.5 sacks and 2 interceptions.
Yeah, I know. I have no comment other than good for him.
Hey, you know what I mean? I mean, we knew that.
So I'm either like, I don't want to hear all these excuses. Either they have to figure out how to use them and free them up, or figure something out, because I don't. Like, his job is to set the edge. That's his job. Like, I mean, I don't want to hear how great he sets the edge. It's his job. Now I need him to do something extra to help this team get to the next level.
Yeah, I'd like to see him more with his hand in the dirt. He had success in college that way. I would like to see that. I think he was a little bit more comfortable. I think just flat standing him out and saying, hey, run into this guy isn't necessarily working.
Well, he should have to, but yeah, I understand what you're saying, but let's give him a full year. He's only been playing a half.
Yeah, there's no knock. We love what we're seeing, right? We just need that little turn, be like, because how'd you do it against the Ravens, right? Something worked. You had a little turn. You can do the same a little bit more, because it's one of the whole. We said this about Pat Graham, right? Didn't we keep saying this about Patrick Graham about how he's down up these pressures and guys are getting so close and so close. It's the whole conversation with Leonard Williams for like 3 years. Oh, he gets so close. He gets so close, but we got to get the finish, and he can finish. He just got to get there.
Nah, he's so right. Zane is so right, because like we already know that he's got the talent, and we already know he's got another half the season to play. But they have to actually figure out how to get him to show it. Like whether they stunt him through the inside, put his hand in the dirt, because right now what they're doing isn't really working. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm happy that he's here. I think when that cat gets up to about 260, 255, because he's losing weight. He looks smaller than I've seen him in a while. Like, I think he puts on 10 pounds of muscle. He's going to be great. I think he's going to have a good second half, but I don't think they're using him right. And I watch the clips in him, and he gets washed out way too much. So I can only have good things to say about him. I just want that little bit more, just so I can see a glimpse of what's going to come.
And right now, I'll bring up one more thing. It looks like there is a whole illness scenario going out throughout the Giants, and guys are not well. Gano, Thomas is ill. This is concerning. If he's ill like Gano and Kayvon recently were, that's going to affect their ability.
Andrew Thomas too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Thomas today, illness. Now he's got to play in 1 day. That's not good, right? Like, not good.
Which leads me to a great segue to this. Burn out. More injuries. The turf's got to go.
I'm tired of talking about this, man. I don't even want to talk about this anymore. It is what it is. We all hate it. It's. I don't want to talk about this.
But they're going to change it next year, right?
Yeah.
What's that gonna do for me today, baby? What's that gonna do today? Ain't
Well,
gonna do nothing for me
Oh, it
right now.
doesn't.
It's very interesting that it took this long for them to figure this out by losing 4 or 5 guys in the draft class. So glad to see they're going to make a move somewhere down the road here, but it's a real thing. And kudos to Julian Love for being the player rep to voice his, his displeasure with it. So again, and by the way, make sure you get out and vote for your Pro Bowl guys. Okay. Like I'm pretty sure the voting opened up, I think like a week and a half ago. It looks like, you're going to have, Dexter Lawrence is probably going to get one, and go out and vote for Lawrence. You know what? But the guy you should be voting for is Love, because he's that underrated guy. I mean, Dexter Lawrence is probably going to make it. Go out there and root for
vote for every Giant. Just vote for every Giant. Plain simple.
Yeah, that's fine too. That's fine too. Knock them all down. Yeah. All right, guys. Let's real quickly move into this because we're running out of time. Yep. What is going to happen? Am I going to lose my Thanksgiving dinner? Am I throwing up? What is happening here? Can you? I'll start with you, Truth. What am I expecting for Dallas? Should I eat early so it doesn't? So I don't throw up. Yes.
Yes, I sent my article out today of my pregame, and listen, the Giants need to play flawless football. They need to get a lot of breaks, for them to win. I'm sorry, the way Dallas played, and I've seen all the Twitter. Dallas plays up and down. You don't know what Dallas team you're going to see. Listen, the Giants are manpower short. They haven't looked good. They lost. Now they may have Pert, right, as the right tackle. Yep. Is that what you said, Zane? I mean, Parson is going to have a field day, and he's not the only guy who can rush. They got Lawrence, you got Armstrong. They have twice as many sacks as the Giants in the same amount of games.
They've got 50 through like 9 games.
I thought they had 42. They have 50?
50. They just had like 6 or 7 this past week.
Whether it's 42 or 50, it's a whole lot more than we have.
I just think the Giants are going to have a hard time. Look, the Giants' strength this year was, believe it or not, time of possession, and they held onto the ball. They won a lot of those in this season. I don't see them winning that category, and they don't win that category. And you have Dallas with the football more, and I think they're going to lose by more points than they lost to Detroit.
All right, I'm throwing this up on here because Nikki Six has an update that we should
know. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
There's just a quick update on Jackson. Dable asked if he would put him on IR. He said not right now, and he's a lot better today. So if you're reading into that, this could go 2 ways. One could be is what happened with Saquon, where they did not put him, into surgery right away. They let the MCL heal, and then he went in later for the ACL surgery. So it could be the fact that you're just not putting him on IR, because they don't want to give something away, or the fact that they got a second opinion and it doesn't look like a end of the season tear. So they may just be going in to clean it up, which would mean it's a small tear and they're going to cut the tear out. So it's very, very interesting.
Or a third option. They're not IRing him because they don't have the money to find somebody else.
Wait, say that again?
They're not going to put him on IR because they don't have the cap space to replace him.
Oh, yeah. Never even thought about that.
They got like $3 million. So anyone they've put a bunch of people on IR. That's costing them money to put people and have to activate and bring somebody else.
Yeah, it costs money for that. Yeah,
it's going to cost them money to do this. That could be one piece of it. Either way, he's not playing Thursday no matter what. So
yeah, he's not playing Thursday.
Zane, so we started a little bit late. Let's help wrap this up. You're listening to another episode, of course, of the Giants Guys, brought to you by Astroflave. And by the way, Tuto, I mean, he uses Astroflave. His family uses Astroflave. You should too. It is
show Tuto's profile pic. Flex from baby. Show Tuto's pic. You see that? You see that right there? That's Astroflave. Those arms are Astroflave arms.
Right there. That right there. All right. So it's a Jersey company, 5 locations. Okay. We love if you're out there looking for supplements, whether you're looking for amino acids or shakes, check Astroflave out. Again, they support us. So I'm hoping you'll support them. They'll ship anywhere, in the country. So we appreciate that. Zane, tell me, like, because Michael's already rained on my parade. I already know I'm going to throw up my turkey. And by the way, also before I forget,
if you rained on your parade, I'm about to tsunami on it.
all right. Before you tsunami on my parade, I want to make sure I thank everyone. It's Thanksgiving. What are you thankful for? I'm thankful for a really, really amazing team that works together with me. They don't work for me. They work together with me. We are a team. And I thank all you really cool folks that engage with us on Twitter and Instagram. And, you guys are awesome. Couldn't do this without you guys. So really glad that, and listen, every Tuesday, we've gone from 5, 10 people to 40, 50 people with us every single Tuesday, coming in and out. A couple of you characters. I love to see your names in here. So I'm very thankful for you guys. Zane, let's wrap this up, but with your thank you, Allison. Allison's giving us props here. You guys do a good job. Zane, go ahead, tsunami me with this. But before you completely wipe out the island, is there anything that they could do to surprise Dallas, maybe because they're cocky?
Yeah, so what you could do is absolutely kind of what the game plan has been. Same way you kind of beat Aaron Rodgers, same way you beat any great quarterback, same way you beat Tom Brady in that 2008 Super Bowl, time of possession. You just can't let the other team get an opportunity, right? You have to limit their opportunity on offense. We don't have corners right now, and I don't even mean that like in a comical way. You really don't have corners right now. Your number one cornerback is gone. Your number two cornerback who started the season was gone, and the guy to replace the number two cornerback who played really well is gone. So, I mean, I don't know how people like Rodarius Williams. He's not good. I still don't get it. He
You're
was
dependent on Flott and Robinson.
No, Rodarius Williams.
I mean, Williams and Flott.
Yeah, Flott I like. He's really good at reacting to man coverage. Excellent. Can't tackle worth a damn. So his reaction instincts are great, but he's tiny. He's like Wandale, but the cornerback version. He's like 170. He's small. So the tackling is down. So that doesn't help. But he can at least cover. I think he can cover better. But, I mean, Rodarius Williams is just not good at all. Preseason wasn't good. Regular season snaps before he got hurt. And this last game, he wasn't good. He's not good. So I don't know. Do they move Darnay Holmes over to outside corner and maybe Flott move inside? And
He'll get burned.
I don't know. I don't know what options we have. I'm not even joking. There's literally, I don't know. So here's the problem. Somebody put in the chat, I think it was Aaron Reed, right? Need to do everything we can to keep the ball in Dak's hands. I don't think so, man. Like, I mean, whether they're throwing it or running it, you have problems with your linebacker stopping the run, and now you're asking a rookie slot corner who's been hurt multiple times this season and a 6th-round flyer guy who's like 26 to stop like CeeDee Lamb and all the, and it's just I don't.
What about covering Pallet out of the backfield?
Yeah,
that's that's a spy. That's basically Crowder or Jalen Smith. That's their.
They're in trouble then. They're in trouble with that too.
And I mean, I don't know. You're always hopeful, right? That's why you watch it. There's always that little bit of hope, and there's hope, and I'm hopeful that they can scheme the snot out of this game and we can make something happen.
Well,
but realistically speaking, it can get really bad really quick. I mean, really, like by the first quarter, you might be kicking people out, and then it might be like, it might be actual like Thanksgiving Day violence.
Yeah. Well, I agree with all of that, and I'm not even happy with Belton. Like, I know like he's a body, but I'm not even happy with Belton. I watched these guys tackle this past week, and it was not good.
He was actually he had a couple of bright spots.
No, yeah. I'm just overall, I just thought he would be I don't know. For some reason, I just thought he was going to be a stud. And I'm like,
he is going to be a stud, but now they're moving him out of place to what his role should be. Because again, now you're having to make it up for McKinney, right? You're trying to patchwork as much as possible all the time.
Which by the way, we're not going to go into it because it's a couple weeks old though, but it still rubs me wrong that the captain's hurt and he's not there, because look at the trickle down effect that we have because of it. Yeah, it's really disappointing. Right? I know all you guys want to down.
He goes down. Now Belton's got to play out. Love's got to play out. Other people got to keep picking up. So, yeah.
100%. Look, the New York Giants are one thing, and we'll wrap the show up with this. They are still a work in progress. Whether you love Jones or you don't doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me, and I don't whether they spend the money on him or not. This is what you have to realize is that we're 7 games in. There's a chance to win Minnesota, Washington, the Colts. There's some games to still win. Please buckle in and strap it in and just dial it down. There is going to be some bloodbaths over the next 2 or 3 weeks. Don't jump off the ship. We never thought we'd be in this position anyway. So just look for bright spots. Bellinger is going to come back. They're going to have a handful of players return, which at least will give you some potential, offense.
Evan Neal coming back is big time. That's big. Getting a right tackle back is big time. It helps you back to that game plan of time of possession and the run, right?
Neal and Bellinger will give you that blocking on that back.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, again, this was the part of the schedule that was very worrying. 7 out of 10 is 70%. That's pretty damn good. So I'm not knocking where we are. It's just that because of those early wins, we're the best. We
But
can't
listen,
lose.
Listen, I hate the jump ahead. I always like to go one game at a time, but these next 5 games are going to decide their playoff.
This is the one. I mean, I said this, right? They got this division stretch coming.
Yeah.
They've got the stretch now. This is the stretch.
Yeah, these next 5 games.
You got to break even. Unfortunately, you got to break even, right? You can't go 1-4.
And Mark says that Fabian Moreau might be able to go, which would
I hope so. It was supposed to be ribs. They went to oblique. With ribs, you could do a little bit of patchwork. You could pad up, but oblique is a little bit tricky, and that's what they listed it at. But if you can, I hope so.
And Cold, you're right on. Our linebackers do look like matadors. They can't stop a dang thing.
Olay, baby. Olay.
That was good.
Well, look, I know you folks got other things to do, so thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Giants Guys. Of course, that's Zane. That's the truth. Thanks for hanging out with us. Please check us out on Instagram, because if this Twitter thing ever does blow up, we do have NYGiants_rush. We're starting to put more content up there. Please check us out, follow there. And by the way, I'm still trying to give away 2 things. 2 things. I got a killer Astroflave prize pack. It's about $250 worth of supplements, t-shirts, and hats. All right. So I'm just looking for one person working out wearing Giants gear. Okay. And my man Smooth was wearing another podcast shirt in the picture, so I couldn't use it. So I need somebody else wearing Giants gear in the gym. Price pack's yours. Secondly, I got an autographed Otis Anderson jersey, okay, from, of course, Super Bowl MVP that I'm trying to give out. All you need to do is go on to YouTube, tell your friends, your family, download it, upload it, but subscribe. Bang, 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 bang. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Giants Guys. The 900th sub, we're around 770, 780, is going to win the jersey. But here's the thing. It won't be just one winner. So whoever's like $8.99, I'll make sure you get hooked up too. All right. Hey, enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Maybe I'll subscribe.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Maybe I'll subscribe. I have to think about it.
Thanks, man.
But hey, listen, happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving, whether you celebrate or not. Take the time off if you have it. Have a good time. Relax. Don't get too violent. Just buckle in and accept it. And, maybe turn off the TV and play a board game if you need a distraction.
It's not a bad idea. Sometimes leave your phone
behind. Your wife, hug your kids.
Exactly. In the chat, Mark, I want to let you know that I'm mailing your gear out for the question of the week. It's going to Miami, so that's out there. Brandon, thanks for coming. Tuto, Joe, Real Cole, of course, Aaron. All you guys.
Ali from the West Coast, much appreciated.
Yep, Ali from the West Coast. Of course, Nikki and Brandon. There's Jake and Bones, Brandon. There's Tommy.
Andy from the UK is out here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Andy's in here. Our guy from LBI was in here before, and Jake. Oh, there's Neil. All you guys, thanks for hanging out with us.
Aaron, sorry, not Andy. Aaron, my apologies. Appreciate you, Aaron.
No, yeah, it's all good. We love you guys. Thank you. We couldn't do this without you guys. NYGiantsRush.com. And that's it, guys. Listen, thanks for tuning in. Have a great Thanksgiving. Don't drink too much. Don't throw up your food. Eat early. and listen, it is what it is, okay?
Look at what Steve put. Real Cole.
Wait, hang on. Real Cole's always got something good. What's this one? I'll have cowgirl fans in my house. I might have to Don't get locked up, man.
I'll bail you out. Just send me,
Yeah, don't get locked up. Just
send
take a
me,
walk around the
send me
block.
the DM on Twitter. I'll bail you out, bro. Don't worry about it.
Take a long walk outside. Okay. Night, everybody. Peace out.